Welcome to From Center Ice. My name is Courtney, and how do I talk about this team? How do I talk about this game? What can I possibly say about game number 6? I came into the last video for game 5 thinking the exact same thing. How do I talk about this game? The Leafs had the chance to close it out. They lost in overtime, a minute into overtime even. But here I am, game 6 ended, I don't know, maybe a half hour ago, and I don't have words. So I'm gonna go through the 3 questions I had for this game very quickly because I don't think they even tell the story of what happened in this game. So question number 1, will Mitch bother to show up for game 6? I guess he still wasn't great, but I'm not going to put this game all on him. He was skating hard, he did get some chances, he got some pucks to the net. If this had been his first playoff game, it would have been fine. But it was game 6, their second chance to close out the series. You want more from him, but he's not the only guy. So we're not putting this one on Mitch. Question number 2, can the Leafs strike first? Nope. Question number 3, can the Maple Leafs play with a killer instinct? Again, nope. So those are the 3 questions I had coming here into game 6, and again, I don't think they'd tell the story of how this game went at all, except maybe question number 3 about the killer instinct. So there were a couple of lineup changes for the Leafs. Nick Foligno and Travis Dermott came in. Adam Brooks and Rasmus Sandin went out. A lot of people asked, should Foligno really be playing? He is injured, and no, he didn't really look like he had too much of a step in his game, but he really wasn't terrible. He did some good things out there. He was throwing the body around. He was effective, maybe not as much as you would like him to be. I think the problem here was he got too much ice time for what he was capable of doing in this game. But he was by no means bad. I think he was more effective in this game than Thornton has been for the entire series. And Travis Dermott in for Rasmus Sandin, you kind of saw that coming. The 2 horrible turnovers from Sandin in game number 5. And of course, as the universe would have it when it comes to the Maple Leafs, it was Travis Dermott's turnover that led to the game-winning goal for the Canadiens. Because that's right, I haven't said it yet, but you can tell by my demeanor, and you've probably seen it all over the internet, or you were just watching the game, that the Toronto Maple Leafs lost game number 6 in overtime to the Montreal Canadiens again. And it was yet another game where Toronto let Montreal get ahead and they had to claw their way back into this game. It wasn't 3-0 this time, it was 2-0. That's a bit easier of a mountain to climb, but they saved it all for the 3rd period, which makes it significantly less easy. And while they had to score 2 goals in the 3rd period of the last game, all of the scoring, aside from the overtime goal, came in the 3rd period tonight. So this game was back in Montreal, and they had fans in the building for the first time since last March. I'm going to say it was majority Montreal fans, but there were a lot of Leafs fans there as well. But it was loud in there. It was nice to have crowds back in Canadian stadiums. Well, stadium, I should say. The other 2 won't have them. And we all kind of knew going into this game that that was going to give Montreal a boost to start this game. And the Leafs just kind of had to weather the storm, get through that first part of the game, and then hopefully take over and be able to play their game and take the lead and win the game. Obviously, that did not happen. What did happen is this game started and the Montreal Canadiens looked dominant. And the Leafs, on the other hand, looked terrible. The only Maple Leaf that came to play in that first period was Jack Campbell because he had to make 15 saves in the first period. He had to make 10 saves within the first 5 minutes of the game. The shots were 10-1 in favor of the Canadiens 5 minutes into this one. They were 13-5 in favor of Montreal, obviously, 11 minutes into the game. So you can see Montreal came out looking way better than the Maple Leafs did. The Leafs got the first power play of the game. They looked like garbage. The Habs got the second power play of the game and they didn't score. Toronto's penalty kill looked good once again. Obviously, Montreal's penalty kill looked good as well. And after that absolute mad storm of Montreal just dominating the game in the first half of the first period, it kind of settled down after that and the Leafs got a better handle on the game, but Jack Campbell remained huge for this team. He is the reason that this game was scoreless. after the first. At the end of the period, the shots on goal were 15-9 in favor of Montreal. Early on in that second period, Shea Weber took the delay of game penalty that has been the story of this series so far. The first was over. This was a new period. It was a chance for the Leafs to play better, get some momentum from being on the power play, maybe score a power play goal. Nope. And shortly after that power play expired, Jack Campbell had to make a save on a 3-on-1 rush by the Montreal Canadiens. So things were just going swell for this team. They held the Habs to only 6 shots on goal in the second period. The Leafs looked like the better team. Granted, they didn't look great, but they looked better than their opponent. The game was right there. It was there for the taking. They were keeping the Habs attackers to the outside at least. They were keeping them further away from Jack Campbell. They gave Campbell sort of a rest there in the second period after facing 15 shots in the first. But going back to that killer instinct point, it didn't look like they were determined to take this game at all. They were sloppy, just sloppy passes and passing. They were overpassing like mad again. It's just the same things that have cursed this team through the whole series got even worse in this game. That was the worst first period that maybe they've had all series. They just were lucky enough not to give up any goals. And their passing got worse, and they were sloppy throughout the whole game. Yeah, they were getting scoring chances. Carey Price had a fantastic game, but if you came into this game not knowing anything about the series, not even knowing it was the playoffs, and somebody asked you, hey, which team do you think could win the series tonight if they won this game? You would say Montreal. You know how sometimes in the playoffs and really big games, whether it's to close out a series or a team can even up a series, they just have that fire in their eyes and you can tell that this team is going to win this game. There's no fire in this Toronto Maple Leafs team. There are no guys that wanted to step up and be big game players. Nylander looked decent again. He was making things happen out there. Jack Campbell had to be huge for his team. But even then, you look at these players and none of them just scream, I am going to take over this game and win it for my team. And that is what is missing from this Toronto roster. That's what's been missing from this Toronto team for the last however many years. They have amazing talent on this roster. There is no denying that at all. They had the top goal scorer in the league in Austin Matthews. But they get to the playoffs and nothing. A lot of what we heard about this Leafs team throughout the regular season while they were doing so well is they were just having fun. They were having fun playing hockey, playing together. You watch them in the playoffs, there's no fun being had. They just look frustrated. They look down. They don't look like they're in the series mentally. I don't really know of a better way to explain it than that. It shouldn't take going down by 2 or 3 goals to get this offense clicking. They should be dominating this team. They are the better team, but sometimes the better team does not win. You can't even really say that Montreal played a great game tonight. They had a great first period. They were opportunistic and scored 2 goals in the third, but in overtime they were outshot 13-2. It was the Carey Price show. It's just that once again, they were opportunistic. A Travis Dermott turnover at his own blue line when all he had to do was get the puck out of the zone, but he decided to turn around, which caused him to turn the puck over, went to Jesperi Kotkaniemi right in the center of the zone, and it bounced off of Bogosian and just went right over Jack Campbell. And that was the game, and I believe I said even in the last video, if they lose Game 6, I don't know that I could see them winning Game 7, and I still feel the same way. With how we saw them come out tonight, their second chance to close out this series after losing terribly in Game 5 in the first minute of overtime on a 2-on-0 goal. You'd think they would want to redeem themselves, show at least themselves, and show Leafs Nation that that isn't us anymore. We are not that team that can just have this series within reach and just keep fumbling it and missing it and never close one out. But I just don't see it from this team at all. There were moments in this game where it was all Leafs. The momentum was all in their favor. And again, Carey Price had a great game. But even then, it was still a lot of one and done. They were getting pushed around by the Habs, and yeah, credit to them. But the Leafs cannot let that throw them off of their game so badly. They had a 3-1 lead in this series, and now it's going back to Toronto for Game 7, and you know that is in their heads because they can't win Game 7. They've proven it time and time again. If they can't close out a series and it gets there, they're just gonna lose. And yeah, it's a different roster this year. Kyle Dubas has done a great job putting this team together, but it's still the same thing. Again, a 3-1 series lead. They had 2 chances to close this out. Both games, they clawed their way back from being down by multiple goals. That should have put all of the momentum in their favor. They should have come out in those overtime periods just with fire in their eyes and that determination to get that final goal to end the game, end the series. And while we saw more of that in tonight's overtime period, it's still just isn't good enough. Oh, and the Maple Leafs lost Jake Muzzin halfway through the second period because, you know, why not? I haven't seen any updates on him yet, but it looked like a groin injury and maybe he pulled it. So that's great. Who knows if he'll be back in the lineup for Game 7, and if he is back in the lineup, how effective he'll be. So they lose Jake Muzzin. Who do you play in Game 7, Travis Dermott or Rasmus Sandin? Do you take Nick Foligno back out? Is he good enough to go for Game 7, or do you put Adam Brooks back in? And Montreal's power play finally got on the board. They were held scoreless throughout the series so far, but they went 2 for 4 tonight on the power play. And all of the pressure is on the Toronto Maple Leafs. They were supposed to win this series. They were the better team coming into the playoffs. And here they are once again in position to just throw that all away, throw the series away when they had the 3-1 lead. Everything going into this game is in Montreal's favor, aside from the fact that it's being played in Toronto. But there's not going to be any fans there, so how much of a home ice advantage is it really for the Leafs? I don't even have 3 questions for this game. I only have 1. Can they do it? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. I'm sorry this one was completely negative, but that's how I'm feeling after this game. The negativity was setting in after Game 5, but it was more of annoyance and just, not this again. But now, after this loss in Game 6, it's really becoming real that the Leafs might just do this again. Lose in Game number 7, not get out of the first round, and then what? How do you make this roster better? I don't know. I guess we just have to hope for the best on Monday night. If you would like to hear more from me or from Center Ice, you can head on over to FromCenterIce.com. There's links to all the places you can find us there. If you're more of a social media person, you can find all of the platforms linked down in the description. All of that being said, thank you so much for tuning in. I know Habs fans are probably loving this. They love seeing Leafs fans sad. But Leafs Nation, get some rest. Hydrate, drink some water, have a nice Sunday at least, and get ready for the game on Monday night. And I will catch you all after that one. Bye, guys. Thank you all for watching. Please hit that subscribe button to catch more From Center Ice content. If you could, hit the like button on this video, maybe share it with a friend or two. And while you're here, check out the podcast playlist and catch up on some old episodes. We will catch y'all next time. Bye!